And a very good evening, everyone. Great to have your company once again on Tassie Rules, Tasmania's footy show, with thanks to DLM Machinery. And you can just feel that temperature just lifting up a little bit. Footy finals are upon us. Some leagues started last week, others this weekend. So a bit to get through to share with you what's happening in local football around Tasmania. We got a special guest coming up from the Hawthorn Footy Club. They've got a massive game coming up, of course, on Saturday. Well, virtually Saturday night, 4:30 start. Harry Morrison will be joining us very, very shortly on the show. But as we do every week, we've got a few picks to show you. With thanks to the team at Little Rivers Brewing Company, here they are. And a big thank you to everyone for shooting in their photos. And now with finals upon us, great opportunity to get them in. So please send us in your pics wherever you're watching football from right around the state. On King Island as well, we've got plenty of footy action still happening. We'd love to get them. Send us a message with your favourite pick. But we've got a couple to show you before we announce our winner this week, and they'll take home the Crafty Cuts range from Little Rivers. Our first one, well, this was sent in by Chris Jackson has sent us in, and that is the SFL president, David O'Byrne, who obviously loves mustard on his Savaloys. That's down at Boyer at New Norfolk, where he has obviously done the taste test and rates them very, very highly, I'm told, on good authority. So, Chris Jackson, thank you for sending that one in. And also this one, we had on the show last time, of course, as well. It was the Daffodil round in the SFL, and here are the Huonville Reserves team in the rooms after the game wearing their yellow armbands. And I know it was a very big weekend, and a great job from the Cancer Council of Tasmania and also to the SFL for getting on board. But our winning photo this week, well, this was an absolute beauty, sent in by Sebastian Kitchener. Have a look at that for a celebration. That is Josh Glantz from the Dosa Roosters celebrating a goal in their clash with OHA. That was from last weekend in the Old Scholars Football Association. It's done the rounds too, actually shared by the AFL. Great pick there. So well done to Sebastian Kitchener. The first photos we've had from Sebastian during the year, and what a beauty it is. So Crafty Cuts range coming your way with thanks to Little Rivers Brewing Company. All right, we are going to have a very quick break. Harry Morrison, who played his 100th game last weekend for the Hawks, is going to be joining us next.
Durable, reliable, heavy duty. Get the power you need from the people who know machinery. For sales, parts, servicing and expert advice. Call DLM Machinery today or visit dlmmachinery.com.au.
Welcome back to Tassie Rules, Tasmania's footy show. And, well, I don't get to be biased very often, but I'm going to be biased now. Obviously, a lifelong supporter and ground announcer at UTAS Stadium, and I'm pretty excited for Saturday. It's going to be a massive day, a twilight game coming up at UTAS Stadium, and Hawthorn are taking on North Melbourne in a significant clash, particularly for the Hawks as we wrap up the home and away season before the finals. A win will guarantee the Hawks a final spot for the first time since 2018. They are 3 from 3 this season in Launceston, and it's a great pleasure to welcome to the show a man who celebrated a milestone last weekend, and that is Harry Morrison, who's been good enough to join us 100 games in the brown and gold. Harry, welcome. Good to have you with us, and congratulations on 100 games, mate.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for having me on the show.
Good to have you with us. Just reflecting on that, it is a significant milestone. You were taken at pick 74 back in 2016 already. You must have felt really proud running out onto the MCG on Sunday afternoon, and on a personal level before obviously such a big game. But it's a great achievement, and what, you know, there's been a lot of persistence, ups and downs. But how significant was that for you personally?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a big week. I had lots of family and friends coming to the game as well, so that was nice to just have all that support. And I got hundreds of messages and plenty of support through the social media networks and stuff. So I really appreciated that. So to run out on the weekend and play 100 games and see the name on the banner and the things that come with it, it was a pretty special week.
Yeah, a lot of honours, obviously, Harry, but something that has become synonymous with the Hawks. during this season has been the selfies, and I see that you had the phone and you got to take the team selfie. I think we're going to pop it up there. There we go. A beautiful pic of you and the boys. That was pretty exciting too, mate.
It was, yeah. I got handed the phone after the game, so it was my turn this week. But they looked after me there, I think.
Fantastic. Hey, after round 5, obviously the club was bottom, 0-5. Now you're sitting 7th and on the cusp of a finals appearance. Was there a moment, I guess, after round 5 where you just felt that you could put your finger on what has been the turning point for the club? I spoke to Brett Ratton earlier on in the year as well at a function that I hosted, and he spoke about some of the significance of, I guess, the development early on in the year. There was a game in particular, I think, against Melbourne that he thought there was a bit of a change after that. But from a playing group, when did things change? Because at 0-5, it wasn't looking great.
Yeah, I think after we played Gold Coast up there, that was probably our worst performance of the season. And after that, we sort of had some really honest conversations that week. We obviously weren't happy with where we're at, sort of reviewed that game and reviewed the first 5 weeks as well. And as I said, had some honest conversations which needed to be had. And then from there, we sort of focused a lot on pressure and playing the way that we want to play. If it was winning or losing, we're gonna do it our way. So from that was sort of a bit of a turning point in the season for us.
And we fast forward now, round 23, done and dusted. We're into the final round of the season. How do you feel the playing group has, because it looks on the outside that they've handled it exceptionally well, but there is all of a sudden almost an expectation from fans and certainly in the media about being the form team in the competition. How have you guys handled that? Because things have changed a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that I suppose we've addressed as the season's gone on. Expectations change in a matter of a couple of months, really. So, with expectations come pressure, and we've worked out through reviewing and that sort of thing how we sort of deal with pressure individually and as a team. And I think that's sort of helped to just actually address it for one, and not shy away from it.
As we said, you've been at the club now 8 years, and one thing that's become very noticeable, and interested in your take on this as well, Harry, is you all seem to enjoy each other's company. You celebrate each other's achievements out on the footy field, but importantly, you're able to actually express yourself and be yourself as well. Is that something that has really been impressed upon by Sam and the coaching staff as well? Because it seems to have made an enormous difference in terms of the belief of the players.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it's sort of been mentioned and not forced upon us as such. It's sort of something that everyone's sort of comfortable in their own skin and embrace. So I think it's a wonderful thing to have at a footy club, and great for the culture to sort of, everyone can sort of play with their hearts on their sleeve, and if they get carried away with the celebration or something, that's all right, because it's just bringing joy.
Absolutely.
And footy's supposed to be played with joy as well. So it creates energy for the group as well, especially after we kick goals and there's some big celebrations and that sort of thing. It just keeps the momentum going, and the crowd love it as well. So there's plenty of positives in it.
They certainly do. Obviously, you've got a great group of coaching staff as well. I'd love your take on Zane Littlejohn, obviously someone very well known to us down here in Launceston, former North Launceston coach and won state league premierships. But tell us about his influence and mentorship as well as part of the group.
Yeah, he's been super since coming across from Brisbane. His energy himself that he brings to the group is like no other. He's a very energetic person, and he's got a great football brain. And I've spent a bit of time at Box Hill over the last couple of years. He's probably someone that I lean on, especially when I am playing at Box Hill. So we just go back and forth with ideas, especially on game day, and can sort of pick each other's brain. But yeah, he's a highly skilled coach, and he's a very good bloke as well.
He is a terrific fella. Now, I'm sure you're aware of this incredible win-loss record down here in Launceston. Harry, 60 wins from 81 matches. It's quite extraordinary over the 20-odd years you've been coming down here, but I guess that's almost irrelevant now, but it is a factor. But I guess nothing is more important now than a win against the Kangaroos on Saturday night, because a win will obviously lock in finals.
Yeah, absolutely. We love coming down to Tassie and playing down there. It's sort of a bit of a home away from home, and we feel comfortable playing at the ground, and feel like we play it really well. The ground itself is unreal. I still think it's probably the best surface in the AFL. So they've always do a great job and put on a good show there for us.
Now, of course, it's going to be night lights on Saturday, Harry, with the late game at 4:35 p.m. at UTAS Stadium. How important is the crowd? Because the crowd down here in Launceston, we've had a lot of tight games down here this year, but what factor is the crowd? Because for 19,000 or so that are going to be there on Saturday night, they can make a heck of a lot of noise.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I was saying before, when the crowd's behind us and the momentum's with us, it can be quite unstoppable. And I think you've seen how many games have been decided on momentum this year, all over the league. You can not underestimate how important a crowd is, and the Hawks crowd down in Tassie is like no other. It's they get, when they're up and about, they're really, really up and going. So we're pretty excited for it.
For sure, and there's not a lot of local footy being played either on Saturday, which is great. So it should make for a very big crowd. Look, we wish you well, Harry, on the weekend. We look forward to seeing you down here. It's a massive game, and there is no easy game in football anymore. There's a job to be done still, but the form has been absolutely outstanding for so many weeks now. So we're looking forward to it, and fingers crossed you guys can keep this magnificent momentum going. But we appreciate you jumping on the show.
Beautiful. Thanks for having me. Cheers.
Great to have Harry Morrison joining us here on the show. And don't forget, there are tickets still available. You can jump on the website to grab them for Saturday night under lights at UTAS Stadium. Time for a quick break. Back very shortly.
Durable, reliable, heavy duty. Get the power you need from the people who know machinery. For sales, parts, servicing and expert advice, call DLM Machinery today or visit dlmmachinery.com.au.
Time now with thanks to Harrison Agents for our club in focus. And finals kicked off in the NTFA last weekend in Division 1. And I think it was pretty easy for us to decide on which club to focus on, because there was an incredible game. We'll talk about the other one first, and that was Lilydale coming from the clouds to beat Perth by a point in the qualifying final. But one of the big stories out of last weekend was the Bridport Football Club. They came back into the NTFA at the beginning of the 2023 season after going into recess the previous year. It's been a lot of hard work for the Northeast community, the town, the club. And last weekend, well, the ground was absolutely packed for their elimination final. And what a game it was against Old Launcestonians. They were staring at a 21-point deficit at three-quarter time and ended up winning by 21 points. How did they do it? Well, we better find out from the horse's mouth, the coach, and what he might have said at three-quarter time. Andrew Philpott. Potsy, nice to see you. Welcome, mate.
Thanks for having me.
A couple of days on, and what did you say at three-quarter time, mate? Were you astounded with what? Because I think it was it 15 scoring shots in the last quarter?
Yeah, we had 4-10 at three-quarter time and ended up with 12-17. So
what'd you say to them? That you can say on camera.
Yeah, that's it. It was the same message all day. We just didn't use the ball well enough going forward. It was a matter of, we've got some good forwards, we've got some good on-ballers. Just settle down a bit. We changed. We spun the magnets. That was, Soldy, assistant coach, and I changed a few things up, and we just stuck our tackles, and we started winning in the midfield. And once we got on that roll, to be honest, I didn't see it coming to that point. Yeah. I thought we could get up and win, but not like that.
No. Huge crowd, and we're going to see a shot of it from, have a look at that. I mean, that's pretty special, isn't it, Andrew? I mean, how special was it on Sunday when you consider where the club has come from in under 2 years' time? What sort of a day and what sort of an occasion was that for you personally?
It was pretty special just to make the finals.
Mm.
And then to be given a home final when they've never even had one, or we've never had one back in the Northeast days, because the ground was never good enough.
Mm.
But they've spent some money over the years, and in time it's got better, and people do a lot of work up there. And then the day itself, we always knew it was going to be big, but once again didn't expect that. And when we were coming home, to have that crowd behind you, it was like having 19 on the field.
How special was that night? Did you allow everyone to celebrate? And,
I didn't put any restrictions on them, but the boys were good. Most went home. I had the couple of users with me a little bit later that night.
I see, right.
Nothing silly.
Coach led from the front.
Yeah, make sure they got home and safe and sound. And no, we understand where we're at. Great win. And look, at the end of the year, whenever that happens, we'll look back on this day and think, wow. But at the moment, we'll concentrate on next week.
Absolutely. You've had a lot of success along the way, coaching-wise, in the NTFA, particularly with Rochely Footy Club. But was the challenge of leading not only a team but a club that's come back from recess, was that a real lure for you to accept the role at Bridport? Yeah,
it was, because at Rochely, lots of talk about how we recruited and we got players from South Launceston, and a totally different scenario. When I was at Rochely, I was assistant coach, and we were struggling when I got there, and we built it up with Brett Mansell. And then when I took over, we got in a roll and got the 3. To go to a club that didn't exist, technically had no players, even though the club had worked and had 30-odd names the time I got there in July of 22. That was the lure for me. And then meeting the people. Like, I've known Peter Rosendale and Stewie Blackwell, and then get to know Steve McKillop and the rest of his crew that he's got, and it's quite a big crew, our committee.
It is.
It's club first. It's fantastic.
I saw, obviously at that outset, there was particularly led by Steve McKillop, the work that he did in the early days when the club went into recess to then take on the leadership from the front to try and make it happen, because you would know full well, as many of us do, if you're gone for longer than a year, it's very hard to ever come back. How important were those people? You mentioned a few of them, but obviously everyone that's been involved with the club. Yeah, there's 20 odd on the committee. But you're right, Steve did a power of work. He does have Big Rooser and Blackie backing him up. It was do it. If we didn't do it then, it was never happening, as you say. And the pressure was on everybody, that's for sure. And we got 5 games. We won 5 games in our first year, so that was pretty good. Absolutely. We've got a couple of photos we'll bring up, just some shots of the crowd on the weekend. And obviously, wouldn't you want to go and coach at Bridport? Have a look at that. There is really not a better spot in Tasmania or view. Is it very easy if you're down at full back or full forward to switch off and just appreciate that view sometimes?
It can have the calming effect. I'm known to get a little bit excited with my coaching. And you just look out over there, Barnbougle, and over the ocean, and think, well, just settle down, Andrew, and
do your job.
Do your job. Yeah.
What's extraordinary scenes there, and a massive crowd showing how important community football is. But what has it done for the town? What have you noticed?
Talking to Steve, he walks down the street and people stopping him all the time. He actually can't go down the street if he's busy. He can't go down the street because people want to just stop him and talk to him.
Fantastic.
And the amount of people that came up to me after the game was pretty special.
Yeah.
Just pats on the back, handshakes, and I couldn't get through the bar Saturday night to get to my family.
Wow. It'll long live in the memory, I think, particularly with the adversity that the club has gone through. Looking ahead, Perth next on Sunday, Invermay Park, 1:30 p.m. So neutral venue. They finished third. They beat you by 50 points back in round 6, but last time, importantly, was just a point only a few weeks ago in round 15 at home. So you'd enter this game with a bit of confidence.
Yeah. Huge amount of respect for Perth and Jade Silver, the way he goes about his coaching. They set up quite well. He's obviously spent time at a higher level coaching, and he's brought that to Perth. But yeah, we changed some things. We matched up better last time, and same again. I've just come from a meeting where put a few different things in again and see if we can get over the line this time.
It's going to be a great day. Now, the other Division 1 finals action, Old Scotch are taking on Lilydale on Saturday afternoon. Second semi-final, that's at 1 o'clock. So people have got time to probably head down to UTAS Stadium after that. That is going to be at Hillwood. So obviously weather's a bit of a factor at the moment too, because I know in general the NTFA like to give home games to those that finish above the ladder, but there's not much you can do when the weather's bad and grounds are impacted. You need to, I guess, have a fair game of football as well.
Yeah. No one wants to go and watch 4 goals versus 3.
Yeah.
When the ground bogs up, it's not good for the spectators, not good for the players.
No,
So,
indeed.
No, I'm all for it. Look, home final's great, but you've got to look after the players and the crowd, and you want a spectacle.
Yep, and you had beautiful weather down at Bridport.
Yeah.
It usually always is down there, but no, it's great. Hey, Potsy, good to see you, mate. Thanks for coming on the show. Well done with what you've done, but also obviously the whole committee up at Bridport. That was never going to be an easy game against Old Launcestonians, a well-established group as well. But terrific win. Wish you well on the weekend.
Thank you very much.
It's Andrew Philpott, coach of the Bridport Football Club, joining us on the show. Don't go anywhere. Thanks to Cleanaway, back with our women's segment after the break.
Durable, reliable, heavy duty. Get the power you need from the people who know machinery. For sales, parts, servicing and expert advice. Call DLM Machinery today or visit dlmmachinery.com.au.
Welcome back. Well, thanks to Cleanaway, time to look at our women's segment, and we're going to be focusing on what's coming up in the finals action because it is all happening at the moment right around Tasmania. We're going to start off with the SFL women's competition, and their schedule has come out. This is for Division 2. It's week 1 of the finals. We've got a couple of elimination finals happening across the weekend. Firstly, Port, they're going to be taking on St Virgil's. That is at Signet, 12 o'clock on Saturday. Should be a terrific game. Port, they finished third on the ladder with an 11-3 win-loss record, while St Virgil's ended up in 6th place with 6 wins and a draw. And the other elimination final, well, that's going to be played at Pontville. Beautiful ground down there at 12 o'clock this Saturday. It is New Norfolk and University, and the women from Boyer, well, they finished with 10 wins for the season. They're going to take on University, who finished 5th on the ladder. Very, very tight ladder from 5th to 7th, with Huonville missing out on the finals by just the 1 win. So that's SFLW Division 2. Here's how it looks for SFLW Division 1. Qualifying final coming up, Kingborough versus North Hobart. This is down at the Twin Ovals. Early start, 9:30 a.m. on Saturday. Kingborough, well, they only dropped the 1 game, and that was to North Hobart by 9 points in round 14. So this should be an absolute beauty between the Tigers and the Demons. And the winner, well, they're going to go straight through, as you can see from that graphic, to the grand final. And the loser, they are going to be playing against the winner of the elimination final, which is coming up on Saturday afternoon at 4 o'clock down at Anzac Park. It is Clarence versus Lauderdale. So winner will face the loser of Kingborough and North Hobart. Okay, let's have a look at the NWFL Women's Grand Final. Well, this is going to be an absolute ripper. It is coming up on Sunday afternoon. There are all the details on your screen. 2 o'clock at Devonport Oval. Now, the 2 teams met in the qualifying final a fortnight ago, and Wynyard won by just 4 points. Both teams finished with 12 wins for the season. Penguin finishing on top, courtesy of a larger percentage. So it's got the hallmarks of being an absolute ripper. Wynyard won by just 1 point in round 1 when the 2 teams met, and then it was Penguin winning by 45 in round 9. So I think it's going to be an absolute ripper. So we're looking forward to that. Good luck to Wynyard and Penguin at Devonport on Sunday afternoon in the NWFLW Grand Final. All right, Let's turn our attention to the NTFA women's competition now. Week 1, the second semi-final, Division 1. Hillwood, who finished on top of the ladder, they are taking on the Meander Valley Suns. That is going to be played at Hillwood Saturday morning at 9:15 a.m. And whilst we're on the subject of Hillwood, congratulations to Sian Beaton. Sian took out the best and fairest for the club for a second time, winning by 2 votes from Jess Murphy, who finished runner-up. So, congratulations to Sian, and a very good effort from her. A very, very good player as well, important cog for the Hillwood side. The first semi-final, well, that is Deloraine taking on Georgetown. So the reigning premiers, Deloraine, Sunday morning at 9:45 a.m. at Invermay Park, Deloraine, Georgetown. That should be a good game as well. But Deloraine looking to go back-to-back after that terrific win in the grand final last week against the Meander Valley Suns. Premier Division, it is week 1 in the NTFA women's competition. And just the one game, that is the qualifying final. And this will be at Rochalee, 9:15 a.m. on Saturday morning. South Launceston taking on Old Scotch. So that's a bit of a wrap of what's coming up in the women's finals this weekend. And that is with thanks to Cleanaway. Time for a quick break. When we come back, we've got footy news from around Tasmania with thanks to HST Tree Services.
Durable, reliable, heavy duty. Get the power you need from the people who know machinery. For sales, parts, servicing and expert advice, call DLM Machinery today or visit dlmmachinery.com.au.
HST Tree Specialists. We are the industry leaders in vegetation management in Tasmania. Our services include tree solutions, hazardous vegetation removal, and project consultations. We are committed to eliminating vegetation-based risk in Tasmania while being sensitive to environmental impact, with a strong focus on health and safety practices. And from large-scale government and commercial projects, small private arboriculture jobs, and equipment hire, MyTas recommends HST.
Thanks to HST Tree Services. Time to take a look at what's happening in the men's finals this weekend and a few other bits and pieces from around the state as well. The SFL finals schedule is out. It is week 1 coming up, and this is going to be some great football action as well. Lindisfarne are taking on Huonville in the first of the qualifying finals. That's at Anzac Park this Saturday. 1:30 p.m. is the opening bounce. Lindisfarne, well, they've won both encounters this season, and the winner, they are going to take on Cygnet in the second semi the following week. It is the elimination final also, and that is happening on Saturday, also at 1:30 at the Pontville Football Ground, and Brighton are going to be taking on Sorrel. Brighton, they will start favourites. They won both of their encounters earlier in the season. So a couple of great footy games happening there in the SFL this weekend. The NTFA final schedule also with week 1. The Premier Division, of course, we went through Division 1 when we had Andrew Philpott from Bridport on the show a little earlier. But in the Premier Division, we got the qualifying final happening, Rochalee versus Longford at Rochalee. This is on Saturday at 1 o'clock. This should be an absolute beauty because it is last year's premiers against the 2022 premiers, the City Tigers against the Country Tigers. It stands at 1-1 in 2024. Rochalee winning at Longford by 13 points just 3 weeks ago. And then earlier in the season, Longford at Rochalee, I was at that game, was an absolute beauty too. Longford winning by just 4 points. And in the elimination final, that is on Sunday down at Parrot Park in Bridgenorth at 1:30 p.m, where Bridgenorth will take on Hillwood. Hillwood, last year's grand finalists, they've faced Bridgenorth twice this season, and the Parrots have come up trumps on both occasions by just 8 points in round 16 and at home by a goal in round 6. So very, very tight matches. This should be another ripping game. The top 5 really close in the NTFA Premier Division. So a couple of cracking games this weekend. The NWFA, it's week 2 of their finals series, and Sheffield are going to face Motten Preston in the second semi-final of the seniors. This is at Maidstone Park. The Ledger standing at 2-0 for Sheffield this season. Sheffield have dropped just the one game in the home and away season. They'll certainly start favourites. You can see the reserves game is between Wesley Vale and Forth. And then on Sunday, we've got plenty more footy action for those of you down the northwest coast. This is again at Maidstone Park. and Wesley Vale are going to take on Forth in the knockout first semi-final. Forth scored a narrow 10-point victory last week in the elimination final against East Ulverston, whilst Wesley Vale, they'll be looking to bounce back after their loss to Motton Preston in the qualifying final. Congratulations must go. It was the Oatlands District Football Association Grand Final last week, and how good for the Bothwell Rabbits. There they are. It was wet, it was muddy, but it was a terrific game from all reports as well. They trailed by 9 points to Tribunna at halftime, but a five-goal third quarter helped them, and they managed to win the grand final by 10 points in front of a very, very big crowd. And don't they look happy? They would have celebrated long and hard. Will Campbell, congratulations to him on a personal level, judged best on ground. Now, one of the big afternoons on the footy calendar in terms of lunches in AFL Grand Final week, the annual AFL Grand Final luncheon hosted by the South Launceston Bulldogs is happening very, very soon as well on the 27th. So Friday, the 27th of September from 11:30 a.m. And look at that for a lineup of guests. Matthew Lloyd, Sam Newman, David Foster, who will also be doing the auction, and Kath McCann, the Executive Director of the Tasmanian Devils AFL team. So stellar lineup, should be a great afternoon. Tickets are on sale now. Details on the screen, and also you can head to the South Launceston Facebook page for details as well. And just finally on the show today, just a reminder, of course, we've got the huge game coming up. It's all on the line for the Hawks. Saturday Night Lights, they're calling it, Hawthorn and North Melbourne, 4:35 p.m. The opening bounce should be an absolute beauty between the two Tasmanian tenants. And, of course, the Hawks, quite simply, if they win, they're in the finals. And we'll all be hoping for a win, won't we? All the Hawks supporters, such as me. Should be a great day, and I know a big crowd expected as well. So enjoy your footy action. Thanks for your company once again. Get those photos in, and we look forward to joining you next Thursday here on Tassie Rules. It is Tasmania's local footy show.